Over the past few weeks, I've been getting a ton of traction on the channel for some of my older videos covering tips for living a more frugal life and how to live with less, which is incredibly awesome. I am so happy to see some of those videos getting pushed out into the general YouTube public. But I wanted to make a video here that's going to be kind of a bit of a follow-up to that and kind of an expansion on some of my views on frugal living. I have a prime example with something that had happened to me recently for why you should sometimes be investing a little bit more into the items that you choose to keep in your life. I was recently out on a solo winter camping trip for my 30th birthday. Over the past few months, I've been completely obsessing over backpacking and camping. I used to go camping in Michigan with my friends quite often, and when we moved out here, we got rid of our cars, so it's always been a little problematic for getting to some of these scenic areas without a personal vehicle. I recently came across a few campsites and backpacking trails that I'm able to access through bus transit. So I went through Amazon and a few different backpacking YouTube channels and essentially picked out the cheapest item in each category that I could find on Amazon that still seemed like it had reasonable reviews. Backpacking in the summer, it's okay to be a little bit cheaper and a little bit more uncomfortable because you're not in any serious danger from the cold or the wet. But it's not the summertime right now. It's actually February and getting down into the high 20s, low 30s, which is right below the freezing point in Celsius. So I picked out a $38 two-person tent, a really inexpensive sleeping pad that was more rated for summer insulation, and a $30 sleeping bag that was said to have gone down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So I figured 20 degrees, it's going to be about 30 degrees out there, I should be just fine. I looked at some of the reviews and some people were saying that they were a bit cold, and I figured, I usually sleep fine. I'm not a very cold sleeper. It won't be an issue. So I hiked into the campground, I started setting up all of my gear, and so far things were going well. It was a little bit chilly, but definitely, I brought a couple of sweatshirts, I had some layers, I was doing just fine. Once the sun went down though, it was a very different story. It got brutally cold. My, regular clothes layers were not really holding up that well to this cold or the wind, and I got into bed to go get some sleep. I wanted to just bundle up in that 20-degree sleeping bag and, let it warm me up and be comfortable for the rest of the night. Well, it was the most miserable sleeping night of my life in any sort of recent memory. I actually started to get the beginning stages of hypothermia. I know this because I've been there before, actually camping up in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. We used to swim in Lake Superior, where the waters get down into the 40s. So I definitely kind of knew those early stages and signs, and within an hour of laying down in bed, I was starting to feel that. I was starting to feel really tired and sluggish. I started to kind of get confused and not really be able to tell if I was being cold or hot. It was very bizarre and definitely a dangerous move that I should not have done. I didn't think I was going to be toasty warm with all of this cheap gear, but I definitely did not think I was going to be in any sort of danger. As you've probably already seen some of the footage, I was planning on making a YouTube video of my trip out there and talking about, how you don't need this really expensive gear to go out camping. Just get some stuff and get out there and have some fun. Live your life, don't wait, that sort of mentality. And I ended up abandoning the video just because of that brutal cold. I was starting to get worried and wanted to make sure I was safe. I didn't want to put any attention or focus where I didn't need it. I'm gonna try and warm up my feet a bit on this fire, but yeah, oh my gosh, what a night. Showing right now it is 31.8. That's -1 or something Celsius, I'm not sure. I didn't sleep very much that night, but the good news was that I didn't run into any serious problems. I ended up waking up essentially in the middle of the night, starting another fire and just kind of hovering around the fire until the sun came out again. Luckily I had some firewood nearby, but it was a very dangerous night that I do not want to be repeating anytime soon. Definitely don't need to get into the specifics of the gear right now, but I returned that sleeping bag, I returned that sleeping pad, and ended up picking out some that were a little bit more expensive but rated for much colder temperatures. So since then, I had to invest a little bit more money, but from now on I can go out and definitely feel a little bit more safer with sleeping in the colder temperatures. This is such a different type of video from what I normally put out. At this point, you're probably wondering what the point of this whole story is. Well, one, It was my 30th birthday. I wanted to share that with you guys. I took the video camera out and I wanted to just make this nice video and have a nice positive message with it. Everything fell through, so this was a way for me to be able to still share that experience with everyone. And two, it was a good reminder for everyone that's trying to save money and budget and skimp and save and scrounge wherever they can, that sometimes it pays to invest a little bit more. I've always been a big advocate for higher quality over higher quantity in everything in my life. And I do think there is a significant place for all of us trying to live frugally to make sure that we're investing in the items that matter. The point of being frugal is to reduce barriers from your life, to free up financial stress, to be able to go on that extra vacation, or to be able to pay the bills and work a job that you might like a little bit more than your previous. Whatever the case may be, we're doing this to enrich our lives and survive in the best way possible. It was a very bizarre feeling for me when I was picking out my backpacking gear to be going for the cheapest possible items. I typically do research and wait. I'll take 2-3 years to pick out a shirt before I purchase it, just because I want to make sure I get the right one that's the right price and the right quality, everything. And so I had gotten all of this cheap gear. And for the most part, everything else worked well. So don't get me wrong, there's still some good budget items out there, but it just went against everything I normally do, and look at what happened. This was a prime example and reminder in my life for why it is still important for certain things to be investing in quality, even if it means a little bit more money up front, even if it means the same amount of money or potentially a little bit more money in the long term. If it's going to bring that much more quality or that much enjoyment in your life, it's something worth considering. And maybe there's something else in your life that you don't really need that you can go without losing out on that quality of life, so you can get that better item that's going to enrich you the most, or do its job the most. I'm actually headed out for a second camping trip in a few days here. Gonna test out this new warmer gear. Very excited to get back out there. I've been practicing in some astrophotography. It's a really good sky lookout area where I'm gonna be camping. So looking forward to that, and looking forward to be a little bit safer, and definitely not regretting the little bit of extra investment into my health and safety. But that was all. I just wanted to make that reminder for everyone, and hope that my night of suffering can serve as a suffering-free example for you. Just don't skimp on the things that matter, and save wherever you can, but don't skimp on the things that matter. I'll talk to everyone next week. I'll probably be updating you with all that camping gear, so look forward to that if you're into that sort of thing, but otherwise I'll talk to you later.